Morning like this. Need valve, little holes. It's pumping.
Dirt bikes.
Morning. It's a Tuesday morning, which is like Monday for the motorcycle world, and starting out with a little walk with the dog. There she is. I don't know if you can see her in all that sunlight. Pumpers. Yeah. Gonna see what the week brings. You guys join me along in this adventure that is running a motorcycle shop. It's always exciting. You never really know what's going to happen every day, which is why I love it so much. That and motorcycles are the best. Let me stop here real fast and say that I really appreciate you guys spending time with me and watching these videos. It means a lot. And if you haven't subscribed yet, and you really like what we're doing, go ahead and please hit the subscribe. I know it's kind of hard when you're on your phone because you're not always logged into YouTube or whatever, but it really makes a huge difference for us at the shop if you get out and you actually subscribe. It just helps us out financially. It helps us get more of these videos done. So that would be awesome if you guys get that done. That'd be really, really cool, because I know there's a ton of you out there that are watching that haven't subscribed. And like I said, I know probably has a lot to do with the fact that you're watching this from Facebook or something like that, and it's not logged in. So anyway, that'd be awesome. Enough of that. Of course, as you know, only if we have earned that subscription, because I don't want you doing it out of pity. I want you to do it because we're doing good stuff. Also, any comments below on how we can do better? That would be cool too. I'd love any suggestions on what we can do better to make your experience better. Also, suggestions on stuff you want to see that motorcycle shops do. I'm gonna not be doing any ride videos here for a while because I'm getting my hip replaced here in a week. And so I won't be riding dirt bikes for 3 months. But we will be doing lots of how-to videos, things like that, and maybe pulling some old ride stuff out of the archives and getting that up. So yeah, come along on the day. All right, we're at the shop, getting after it today. Got to finish servicing this thing up, this really clean YZ 250F, and then we're doing top ends on 4-strokes today. So if you're interested in that, join us. Should be interesting. Got a 530 KTM to do, and then a 350 Beta. I don't know if we'll get them both done today, but we'll at least do our best. So I have a little tech tip for you here. If you're doing an oil filter on an older Yamaha that has the 3 bolts, it gets messed up a lot. So let me show you something. First of all, this doesn't get messed up too often. Make sure you put the oil filter in with the hole out. Okay? So that goes in like that. But here's what gets botched. So first of all, make sure you don't lose any of these O-rings. They come out sometimes. They're all there. That's good. That goes like that. Now, there's 2 8mm head bolts. One here, one there. And then there's this one that's an Allen. It's bigger. Start with that one. This one strips out. If you put these 2 in first and tighten them down, and then you go to put this one in, it can get off just a little bit and you can strip it super easy. And the reason, at least I think, is that it's a shoulder bolt like this, and if you get those other ones off just a little bit, it cocks this as you try to go in, and it'll strip the bolt holes out. So you want to start with this one, snug it, not all the way, but snug it down like a little bit, and then put the other 2 in, and you should keep from stripping this bolt out. Because if this strips out and leaks, you blow up your motor while you're riding and you don't know, and it sucks. So today's top end is a 2009 KTM 530 EXC or XCF or whatever. It's 530. They don't make them anymore. There's reasons for that, but it's a good motorcycle as long as nothing goes wrong with the seals between the motor and the transmission. But this one's just got a bunch of hours on it. So yeah, I'm gonna take it apart, wash it up, put a piston in it. Like always, now that we got everything off of it, we're gonna wash it up because it's pretty dirty. We don't want anything going in the motor. Okay, so we got her washed off, drying off right now. Now we're gonna start taking it apart. Exhaust, carb, blah blah blah, all the stuff. I'm not gonna bore you with all that little stuff, but we're just gonna go ahead and get her done. So here's something I don't love about this era of KTM, and actually I think the new ones too, but you gotta take the shock out of the way to get the freaking head pipe off because it runs all the way. Ah, come on guys, really? Alright, so the 530 motor is a little bit funky. A lot of the new KTMs have a single cam now too, but let me just show you something, how you take these things apart. So you want to get the bike at top dead center, or at least close to it, so that there's no pressure on the valves. So we got that here, but you're looking at the thing and it's like, ew, how does that, I don't even know. So there's 4 bolts, one here, 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 here. You got to take those out. Then you come over here. There's 2 caps here, and those are in there. You're like, ah, because there's rods, you know, that go through there. That the tappet's right on, right here. This is all you need. You need a little 6mm bolt. You're gonna run it in, and you run it in a little bit, and then slide her out. Same thing here. Go in, slide it out. Now these rockers come right out. Boom, just like that. Now those are out of the way, we can get the cam out. Already took the tension off the cam chain by taking the cam chain tensioner out. So what we need to do, we need to take this cam and we need to slide it this way to get it out. There's a holder right here. We gotta come over here. There's a nut or a bolt on the back that's holding that in. So we take that out. This holder will come out, and the cam will slide right out. It's an 8mm. So we'll get one of our long T-handles. Come in here like that. And it's got Loctite on it, which is a good thing. Come over here. Take that bolt the rest of the way out. Now the cam. Here's the holder. Cam will slide out and down. Take the cam chain off. Cam out of there. Bing! Always want to inspect it. Make sure there's nothing weird going on. It actually looks really, really good, because this man takes good care of his motorcycles. So we're just doing a top end preventatively. Actually, it runs just fine. Starting to burn a little bit of oil, but we're gonna get that taken care of. Put the cam down here in its little zone. The dog is barking. Why are you barking? That's a good girl. Can I get a high five? That's a good high five. So now we're gonna take the cylinder head bolts off, get the head off, get the cylinder off, take a look at everything, make sure it's all good. It should be. Then we'll put it all back together. I've got new valve seals for it too, so I'll show you how to do that. And yeah, here we go. All right, so we got the cylinder head bolts out. Now it's time to take this thing off. Here we go. So we got the chain guys in the way. I'm gonna have to set this down. You guys can watch from back here. There we go. There we go. That's what the inside of the cylinder head looks like. Lots of cool machine stuff. Clean that thing up. Cylinder looks good. Okay, we'll clean that up, make sure everything's good. Let's take a look at the piston. Got a lot of carbon on it, but otherwise looks pretty good. We'll get that off and take a good close look at it, but I think we're going to be good to put a new piston in it, new valve seals, new cam chain tensioner, and put it all back together. Just like I said, just a maintenance situation. We're also putting a clutch in this bike. It's got, I think, 300 hours on it. So we're putting a clutch in it, piston and all that, get it all freshened up, ready to go. All right, so we got the cylinder cleaned up. Look at that. Looks brand spanky, ready to rock and roll. Those are just finger smudges. So that's all ready to go. Got the piston off. Check the rod. No play. Should all be good anyway. Now we're gonna check the ring end gap for the new rings. Install the piston on the rod. Then we're gonna go through what we're gonna do to the head, put new valve seals and stuff like that. So here we go. All right, so we're dealing with a 4-stroke here, and this 4-stroke just has one compression ring. Then we got this oil ring down here, and I'll show you what that looks like. But this is the one we need to check the end gap on. The oil rings, we'll check them, but usually they're just fine because all they're there for is keeping oil on the cylinder. So the way you do this is you take this ring and you're gonna put it into the cylinder, and it's not gonna be straight. See that? That's okay, because you're gonna use the piston to straighten it up. So you're gonna take your piston, come in here like this, and get that piston all nice and straight on there. Pull it out. Now your ring is just like it's supposed to be, all nice and flat across there. So now we're checking the end gap right here. The general rule of thumb is you want about 3/1000ths per inch of bore. So let's check how many inches of bore we got. And I know we're using English stuff and not metric. Sorry. Just easier for me. So I'm going to just check this. It's a little over. Ugh, there we go. A little over 3.5. So if it's 3/1000ths per inch, that is going to be 9 and 10. Let's shoot for like 10 or 11 thousandths is what we want that gap to be. There we go, that gap. So, got our feeler gauges. Find the 10 thousandths. Right there. And we're just going to see if that goes. 10 thousandths goes just fine. Let's see if I can show you exactly what that looks like. There we go. Doesn't want to move the ring at all. It's all good. So I'm sure 11s will work too, because it's pretty loose. We'll go ahead and check it. There's 11. Nice. Now, if that ring gap were super big, then we'd probably have the wrong piston, or the cylinder would be worn out, right? Like, that would mean that the cylinder had worn too much to be able to put that size piston in. That is rare, and especially with the common, like the new plated cylinders. I mean, if the plating looks good, it's probably about the right size, because the plating is really thin, and for it to get much bigger, the plating has to go away. So generally, you're not going to have that problem. But what you can have happen is the ring end gap be too small, and that's no good, because it's got some gap there so that there's room for it to grow as it gets hot. If they're too close together and it grows, they'll touch, and if those ends touch at all, they're going to seize against this cylinder and cause all kinds of problems. So you definitely want to make sure there's enough. Now, just for educational purposes, the oil ring on a 4-stroke, modern 4-stroke, consists of a corrugated ring and two little, like, I don't know, border rings, right? And they go like that. The two normal rings sandwich the corrugated ring, and that goes into this ring land, the bottom one, and that helps hold the oil on the piston as it goes up and down and keeps it on the cylinder. So now we're going to prep this piston to put it back on the rod. I'm going to do it just like we do a 2-stroke. So I actually want to work on the other side of the bike, on this bike, because the cam chain guides are kind of in the way over here, so I want to be sitting over there where there's more room. So I need to put the the clip in on this side of the piston first. So there's our arrow that goes forward. So that means we got to put a clip over here. And 4-stroke clips are a lot easier to install than the 2-stroke clips. I don't know why that is necessarily, but they're a lot softer. So they're way easier to get in here. Same kind of thing. There's our little window to help us get it in there. This time we're going to make the open end go up. Put that in there. Come in. See, super duper easy on that. Now, there we go. Like I said, way easier. To install these oil, I always put the oil ring on first because it's down low. It's also kind of delicate. So I put the corrugated part in first. And gotta make sure they don't overlap. There we go. Now we take one of the top rings, or one of the bordering rings, and we're going to take it and put the end gap away from the other, the corrugated end gap. And do it down on the bottom. There we go. I'm going to take the other one, put the end gap away, and put it on top. There we go. All looks good. Now, on our compression ring, just like on the 2-strokes, there's a T right there. That's going to go up. Also, you want the end gap towards the intake side of the cylinder because that's the cooler side, and you want this to be on the cooler side because all those little hard edges, you know, there tend to get hotter than like the bigger meat of the ring. So you want that on the cool side. So I put them straight back here like this. The T up. Now we're going to get our base gasket. Clean all this off. A little bit of assembly lube around there. Just a little bit to kind of help the ring slide up and down. 4-strokes are kind of tough because you got to make sure you get the cam chain guides in there. And you got to come down. Usually they're a little bit bigger. Like that, you kind of squeeze it, and you just want to go nice and easy because if you force anything, especially with these little oil rings, they tend to want to bend if you're not real careful. So you want to keep an eye as you're sliding. Make sure it's moving nice and easy. There we go. Boom. Just like that. Real happy with how that went. You can see we already got it at top dead center. I did that on purpose so that when we time the cam, it's all ready to go. I don't have to move anything. So yeah, now it's time to get the head ready. And then we'll bolt her back together. Got to put a clutch in this bike too, so you can watch us do that. Then hopefully we'll get her done today and see if she runs good. Alright, so now we're prepping the head. I've already done 3 of the valves. We've got one more, but you don't need to see all of it. So anyway, take a look here. We're going to take this valve out to put a new valve seal on it, clean everything up and make it all pretty. Already blasted the head. Got it all shiny and happy. Now, like I said, we're taking this valve out, and I'll show you how we do that. Well, release that. Pull the spring out. So here's the thing that a lot of people don't know, or maybe, I don't know, some people don't know, I should say, is we want to check the guides and make sure that they're good too. We're going to replace the seals, but one way to check the guides, the old school way, is you take your finger, put it over here, push the valve down, and then when you pull it out, you hear that noise? That's a good noise. You hear that? That sound is that it's sealing really well. So we're just gonna put new seals in it, it'll be good. But before we do that, we gotta clean this valve up. All that carbon buildup from it leaking, you know, burning oil for the last who knows how many miles and hours and years. So we're gonna take that over to the bead blaster, clean that. There we go. Thing looks good. Come back over here, clean it off, and put it back in the head. Take this valve seal off. A little bit of rubber in there. That's all nice and clean. Got a brand new valve seal. Put that on that. Take our shiny, all nice and clean valve. I always take a little bit of grease, put it on that stem just so it slides up to the new seal all good. Come up in here. Sometimes gotta take that off. There we go. Springs back on. Spring compressor. Come in here. Some nice little tiny needle nose pliers. Get a hold of that thing. Careful of these things, they like to go flying if you're not careful. And no one generally stocks these. So if you lose one, you're waiting.
Yeah, but between now and then we need all that shit because like.
So what the is the problem?
Right. So I kind of. Yeah, I should. I get.
About the accident investigation stuff that they do, the fire people, British Columbia, and they were talking about Crown Land, and then not. All right, so we got the head back on. Everything's looking really good. Valves are good. Now it's time to put the cam chain tensioner in, and KTM cam chain tensioners, OEM, are not so good. Everything else in there, like valves, piston, chain, all that's great. Tensioner, so we use the Dirt Tricks one. It's actually got a mechanical like spring and a cam in there to keep it from wanting to come back. The OEM one is hydraulically operated, which is all well and good until the oil gets a little bit thin or a little bit hot, which makes it thin, or a little old because you're riding anyway, and then it loses some pressure and it doesn't work so good. So we're going to put this back in. It's the way to go. Here's something I do that I don't think a lot of people do. I guess I don't know, but anyway, something I do that it just makes me feel better. I like this stuff, this penetrating grease from Kimball Midwest, and I just take it and I spray it on the top stuff because it's going to be a little bit before the oil gets pumped up there, no matter what. Also, just in case there's a clog in the system, there's some lubrication up there before it causes any kind of problem. So I just take this stuff, spray it on. So that won't last too long, but it will last at least a little bit until the oil starts getting pumped up top. All right, so we got the top end all back together. It's all good to go. We hope. I'm just kidding. But now we got to do the clutch. Once we get the clutch done, we'll just put new plates in it because it's getting worn out, and then we're gonna put everything back together and fire up and see how she runs. So if you've never seen a motorcycle clutch, that's what it looks like. This is the pressure plate. These are the steels or drivens. These are, there we go. These are the frictions or the drive. This thing right here, not all clutches have this, but if it does have this, it's called an anti-judder spring. So it's not flat. It's like a spring, and it helps keep a little bit of tension on the plates so that when the bike is low RPM or clutch is pulled in anyway, disengaged, it helps keep the thing going. It helps keep the clutch from going and making noise. Quick note: if you have an anti-judder spring, then you have one plate that's skinnier this way, and that needs to go in with it so that that can fit inside. Make sure you do that right, otherwise you mess all kinds of things up. So one pro tip on doing a clutch. I'm using an EBC clutch. It's inexpensive, but they're really good. If you gotta get the high-end version of it. But this part of the packaging, take these, put in there, and then while you're prepping everything, take a little bit of training fluid that you're gonna use. If the bike doesn't have a separate transmission fluid, just motor oil, put it in there, and then you're gonna soak those clutch plates before you put them in, and that just helps them be. It helps them free up when you first put them in. They don't tend to drag. So it's not absolutely necessary, but it's a good idea. So when you get a new clutch, they don't come with a new anti-judder spring. So make sure you take that and put it back in. Then you're gonna go through your clutch pack and find the skinny one. Fortunately, we got lucky, and it's the top one. So that one goes in first. Then you just alternate frictions and steel. So friction went first, then steel, then friction, take our new springs, the old bolts. Again, as with everything, we're going to start them by hand. Got our T-handle. We're just going to run those in, snug them up. The good thing about clutch bolts, pressure plate bolts, is that they've got springs holding them, so as long as you get them snugged up, they aren't going to come out. There's that spring tension helps hold them in place. And honestly, as with about everything you do, you want to just go back and make sure they're all nice and tight. May take a couple extra seconds, but you don't leave anything loose. There we go. And I'm just going to use the gun here to start them. I'll run them in by hand to tighten, because these are easy to strip. Especially on a bike that's a little bit older like this, got lots of hours. Clutch, done, just like that. Super duper easy. And that's just replacing plates. It's not doing anything else, but that's all he wanted done because it's just getting old, man. It had a lot of hours on it. All right, we got her all back together. Well, okay, again, not all back together. Obviously, got to put seat and things like that on. But we got oil in it, we got coolant in it, we got gas in it. Got the motor all done. Brand new clutch in there. So now is the time we find out if it starts. It's, as many of these as we do, I mean, it's over and over and over again, but it's always a little bit of a thing, Humans make mistakes, things happen, but feeling pretty good about this one, so let's see if she wants to run. No smoke, that's always a good thing. Sounds nice and quiet, I like that a lot. Stoked. Thanks for sticking with me today, guys. I'm gonna be here a little bit longer, putting her back together, taking her for a test drive, but I hope you guys had a great day. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, and you think we've earned it, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. And go ahead and get that notification bell clicked, because that way you'll know all the different videos we're putting out. There's going to be tons and tons of content as you follow me through what it's like to own a small independent motorcycle shop. Have a great day. Get out, spread the gospel on two wheels, and make sure you find a little bit of time to ride your